Wasabi forever. Stand for something. We appreciate the blessing, bro. Let's go.
Ain't trying to bite it, we create it, then we ride it. We know our wave is seismic and you really can't deny it. We just keep on soaring higher, you would swear it's autopilot. Then you realize tone and shift and made a living off a fly. We are the wave and it's bigger than the moment. It's a movement that's progressing like the truck stick on opponents. It's time to stake our claim, it's time to bring the pain. We're battle tested, now it's time to show it ain't a game. It's time to make a lane, a different vibe, another wave. We're known for killing, shoot, even help them pick their graves. We're breaking free of chains and running towards the day. Like the victories in plain sight, we're taking flight to reach heights. These boys is tired of waiting, tired of playing, time to go. This vibe's been percolating, gaining steam to explode. Built in anticipation, maybe time to reload. We paid our dues, now we're coming back to repo. We kicking toes, we ain't got no time for peepholes. We keep evolving for our family and our peoples. Ain't playing fair in this game, we just some cheat codes. We are the wave and our hurricanes on beast mode.
Welcome to Waves of the Bay. With DJ Spaceship and Coco Phone.
What's up, world? This is Tone Capone, Hold It Down for the Waves of the Bay podcast. We've been laughing before the show even started, so you know that this one right here is going to be extremely entertaining, and it's the first one of 2022. So I want to welcome everybody in the world to the Waves of the Bay podcast. I have a couple of my close friends, man, a couple family members right here. We've just been clowning. They're going to be dropping some knowledge on y'all tonight. They both very highly talented and skilled. And I just want to welcome Big Business and L Quote to Waves of the Bay. So, fellas, thank y'all for taking time out to talk with me tonight. And, yeah, go ahead and introduce yourself, man. Let's start with you, Big Biz.
All right. I am Big Business. Generally, in the introduction, you kind of talk about different things you've done. So I've done a web series called What's Real Hip Hop, also an inspirational web series called Transition Talks as well. I put on events. Big business events also as well. A curator. I stole that word from Tone.
I like it, man. It sounds so official.
Yeah, and it applies. Amateur filmmaker and clothing designer as well with the brand. Me and Quote founded called Clear Vision. We'll talk more about that after the introductions, and we're ready to go.
What it is, man. Appreciate you coming through once again. Al Quote, tell me about yourself, man.
Yo, it's the last international Playboy, man. U.S. vet, rap MC, entrepreneur. Now I have a clothing brand that's extended from my Dream Team merch, you know, so me and Big Business, we got Clear Vision merch, you know, so we just trying to really end 2021 with a bang and like just hit 2022 out the gate swinging, you know. So I'm just excited, man, for just new and better things.
What it is, man. Once again, I appreciate y'all taking time out to talk with me tonight, man. Y'all are both so busy and wear so many hats. Literally, you have a hat on, like you had a different hat on last time I seen you. You know what I'm saying? So you wear so many different hats, man. You so busy, dog. Big business all the way, man. But for real, man, I want to talk to you first about this big business because jumping into like the movie industry and, you know, doing the film and everything, how do you feel like that sets you up for doing like live shows? Like, how does that actually enhance what you do now?
Well, I've actually been doing live shows, as you know. What's Real Hip Hop, you know, was the first live hip hop centered series in the Tampa Bay area. And it was a situation where there really wasn't anything like it at the time. This is, of course, before COVID. This is before a lot of these podcasts started to take off. That live experience where people come in, you talk about things, you interview people who are in the hip hop industry and connected to the hip hop industry. I learned a lot through that. And I also learned that hip hop needed a voice that was beyond the music. And that's what we try to serve to the Central Florida, not just the Tampa Bay area, during that 3-year run. Co-piloted and directed by Miko White. So learned a lot
Shout
about
out Miko.
Shout out to Miko. Learned a lot about what people really wanted to hear, what they really wanted to see, and what they were actually willing to leave their house to actually experience. Because in many circumstances, most people don't have the opportunity to be in a live studio audience while people are actually taping. You know, we grew up and we saw things on television, the Oprah Winfrey Show. We saw things like Rap City, but Rap City wasn't anywhere near where we were at. But that was that experience that we were actually able to capture here in the Tampa Bay area. And it showed me that there's a lot of people who needed a voice and a platform to elevate. And that really led to actually starting to go more towards the movie industry, because what I noticed is that, movements and music need vehicles. If you really go back in history, you see a lot of people, like, for example, with Boys in the Hood, you saw a lot of stars catapult to extreme heights based upon having a new vehicle for their music. Yeah, you can have your stuff played on by a DJ at the club, but okay, everybody who needs to hear that's not going to necessarily be at the club. So it definitely took Ice Cube to a different level. You go to Minister Society, you can go to a host of films back in those early 90s, mid 90s, and it provided an experience that was unique to a generation. And what we're trying to do with what we're doing with Clear Vision, the brand, the mindset, and all the things that go along with it, is provide an outlet for real life topics and a discussion and soundboard for things that are happening in not only our community, but in state and national and international news.
And that's one thing I do appreciate about you, man. You've always tried to diversify, what you do. Like you always have like a versatile, a show. Like you never know what to expect out of a big business show, but you're going to learn something. You're going to have something to take back and also to teach somebody else with it as well, man. And one thing I've learned, just from life is that, you won't know that you can do it until you see somebody else do it sometimes. So, when you're seeing this live audience, when you're seeing the talent from around your area and you're seeing how dope they are and, how they can be, they can be all the way up there. We're just missing that platform, and it just really sinks home with you. It's like, man, I can do this too. So I always appreciate that about you, man. And like even following up on that, like years ago, we did a show about for depression, highlighting depression in the community. You know what I'm saying? And now that it's starting to gain more steam and more attention, when you look back on that event, like how does that make you feel now?
Honestly, I think that it showed me that there was growth that was needed. And I see it in other areas for sure. Like, for example, business mogul 50 Cent. 50 Cent was one of those people who, it may not be what you may have thought it should have been, but you have a series devoted to, of course, you had The Wire. Of course, you had different things that were going on prior to that paved the way for it. But he gave a voice to this BMF situation, and that's actually loosely based upon actual historical facts. So people can go back and check the manuscript and see where people went wrong and went left, and possibly make a different choice based upon knowing what that road is actually like. We see all these rappers who take the names of famous kingpins and things of that nature, but they don't necessarily take a multifaceted approach of saying, hey, this is what can happen, this is what did happen, this is what could happen. And I think that 50 Cent has done a very good job of bringing some of those stories to light that sometimes they don't have the budget to make it to the movie theater, because, there's so many stories that are in our community that don't have those large budgets to tell those stories. But it's important for people to know about those local stories, those legends, those infamous people who they may look up to and not know the full side of the story.
Now follow me here, man. I'm gonna bring this to you, quote, because sometimes I feel like the media and the masses that be are trying to capitalize on this Black Lives Matter situation, and I feel like that's the reason why they've been pushing a lot of more, ethnic shows, if you want to call it or whatever. So, how do you feel about that, quote?
The BLM movement, so to speak, and the media pushing that.
Yeah, man.
The BLM movement is a historical movement, but what's crazy is, Black lives have always mattered. It's just because of social media and, like you said, it's just being recorded for the first time, but it's always been a lot of police brutality and things like that. Now, I do love that in 2021, you have a lot more of like millennials that are, not African Americans, that are definitely trying to help us get justice, when you look at like the George Floyd situation and things like that, so, it's definitely, it's a humane thing, because I like when people put it in perspective of it being like one race, which is the human race, you know what I mean? So when I see that, you have, in a nutshell, certain Caucasians that feel like, they love our entertainment, they love what we bring to the table when it comes to sports and music and things like that. But when it comes to, trying to, stand up for one of us, they don't fuck with us. You know what I'm saying? So, and you've seen in a lot of different protests that, it's not, having one foot in and one foot out. You either with us or you against us, point blank, period. So, I love the camaraderie that we've seen, just as a race in general, when you see that, you really got a chance to really see who's for the culture and who's not for the culture, so, and continuing to push for justice and things like that. I think that's extremely important. And even as an artist, I feel like a lot of that was reflected in our music, and I think the truest artists will always have the times reflected in their music. And even for me, I just couldn't see myself making a record for the ladies or making a record for the clubs when we were going through so much of injustice, and not really reflecting that in the art, and trying to push that, because I think that is extremely important. I think we've gotten to a point where we're definitely tired of trying to dismiss the elephant in the room, and sweeping that shit under the rug. I think those days are going to be far from over. To continue to move forward and try to make a change.
Feel that, man. And you was actually, you was enlisted. You were part of our armed forces. So I want to say thank you for that. Thank you for your service on that, man. But when you traveled, what's been like your reception around the world, man, like of a Black man, traveling?
Yeah, it's when you, on a government's dime, when you get a chance to travel and you see different countries and things like that, you get a real chance to see the good and the bad. You'll see that, you might have, like me being in Germany, you have a lot of individuals over there that are from there that may not like, Black people, just because of how America has viewed us and kind of shown us in that particular light. But on the flip side, especially when you're somebody who may try to learn their language or be a part of their culture, like they love that, so you'll see the other side of it where they do embrace us as Black people, and they do genuinely love our music, not that fugazi shit, of loving the entertainment side of it, but trying to shun, just me as a person, if I'm being treated, and then we call the police over there in Germany are called Polizei, and they can basically pull you over with no probable cause. If they see you and they can tell, or if like you're an American, they can just stop you legally. In the States, you can't just stop me legally. You got to have a reason to stop me, even though cops still do it.
So they say.
Right, but now, so they say.
Yeah.
So they say, but they got police cams that, nowadays, if you don't got your police camera on, if you put a case against me, it has to be dismissed, so it's trying to trying to make those guys a lot more accountable. Back to that question, I had a great time, when it came to just them embracing me as a person, as a black man, as an artist as well. But at the time, I made sure that I didn't put myself in a situation that could really get me into some trouble. Because at the same time, remember, I'm a guest, so I definitely have to have a career to look after, because your conduct off duty is a reflection of you as a militant person or a military person on duty, and you could be a superstar, when you working in uniform, but if you in these clubs acting, fighting, all that stupid shit, you can lose your career. Yeah, you can lose your that. So it was definitely an eye opener just to kind of see that side of it, or abroad, so to speak.
Man, I appreciate that, man. I'm talking L Quoting Big Business on the Waves of Debate podcast, man. We got a couple of entrepreneurs over here, man. Big Business, you seem like you always, literally in some type of business, man. Like you hustle, man, almost, man. You always switching it up and adapting, and you stay fluid with it, man. So the last time I seen you was at a comedy show. Tell me, how did you start getting into throwing comedy shows?
Well, it's the evolution of entertainment, I believe, because there are some limitations, unfortunately, in certain demographics when it comes to, I think Andre 3000 said it very, very well when he said he's, kind of grew away from hip hop. That part of being in hip hop is you have to be hip. Generally, as you age, being hip is being aware of the current trends, patterns, jargon, and the older you become, the more difficult it is to become or to be hip. And you find yourself imitating more than being the originator of the hipness. And he compared it to a heavyweight boxer. You could be a heavyweight champion, and just because you get older in age, it doesn't mean that you're not any longer great. It just means that people who are younger than you have taken what you've given and then putting their own little spin with it, advanced it, flipped it, spit it out a totally different way, and mastered what you had to offer. So in terms of the hip hop realm, I felt that I pretty much, like with the What's Real Hip Hop, the groundbreaking series that we did with that, I felt other messages needing to be felt, stories that needed to be told, and other aspects of the human experience that were not really being fully realized, or they're being underserved.
Explored. Mm-hmm.
Exactly. So when you think about the ability to laugh, and I can be very honest, I'm a very serious person most of the time. There are things that I will rotate in my mind, analysis paralysis, and sometimes I said, if I feel like I need to laugh to have a break, I know there's somebody else out here who needs the same thing. Oftentimes when you come home, you may have children to answer to, a wife to speak to, a girlfriend who has different things they want to vent, they want to express themselves, and people need a space to decompress, to laugh. Unfortunately, in some situations when it comes to music, especially in hip hop, the idea of bravado having to be present 24/7 when you step out sometimes is a barrier for some, a burden, something like you have to put on this armor of can't nobody bother with me because I'll split them if they do. It's not healthy.
You got to get into character, man.
Exactly. It's just not a healthy experience to continue to do that and try to act bulletproof when you know you bleed and breathe just like everyone else. So I've always been a fan of comedy, just like music. And what I found was that there was a lot of funny comedians who are in this area that are underserved, just like the musicians. And if you really look at the line of symmetry, you have many people who have kind of dabbled and grown in both areas, whether it be music into comedy and comedy into serious acting. Of course, you have Will Smith. Of course, you have Queen Latifah, and the list goes on. But again, is that something that's available for a platform here in the Bay Area? And the answer, for the most part, what I found was not really. So by going into the movie making, by going into doing comedy shows, giving people laughter, there's some people right now who haven't laughed in recent memory just because their situation is so dire, very serious, especially with things like COVID going on and loved ones who are ill and dying and different things. So for me, it was just like I would say a natural progression, because everything that I do at this point, it has to involve somebody else for it to be worthwhile. It can't just involve me. And that's part of the reason I've teamed up with Quote with this Clear Vision brand. It's a mindset and more. And I don't tell everybody about the more, but just keep watching. In 2022, you're going to see things that you wouldn't necessarily anticipate or expect. I found through my experiences and trials that for the most part, it's better to have a pleasant surprise than have an expectation and then you be disappointed. Mm-hmm. So sometimes you just got to close your damn mouth. And some of this stuff,
under promise, over deliver.
There you go. So hey, that's what's going on. We're just out here working. You know what I'm saying? Trying to make a difference and trying to have a little style with it, but also trying to evolve in how we think and the mindset that we come to carry on a day-to-day basis. A clear mindset, clear vision.
See, I like jumping around with y'all right now. See, so what I want to do is shout out to DC. You had him hosting your comedy event. He's also a hip hop artist, but he did an amazing job as a host, and he has, timing when it comes to delivering these jokes. Like, he was funny as hell as well, man. So shout out to DC, but I bring him up to get to the music side with you, Quote, because one of your tracks, Fly High, is in rotation right now, Waves of the Bay on 88.5, and it's one of Spacious favorite songs right now. He spins it all the time. So I want to know, how did y'all two link up?
Yeah, so DC, I met DC years ago, outside of Smoking Word. Shout out to Smoking Word. So I met him outside there, and he actually had a mixtape. Yeah, his mixtape, No Risk, No Reward, he was actually promoting. And I love the mixtape, So, and since I met him, he always been on his grind. So I'm really big on somebody who I feel like matches my same work ethic. If I love your talent and you work as hard as I do, those are several prerequisites that, especially your work ethic has to be there up with mine. So, and then we focused on wanting to do a compilation. And before we did a compilation, focused on doing a compilation, he actually had a few songs out. One of them he had with Mad Smooth, one of my main producers. And shout out to Smooth. And Fly High, the single that's in rotation right now, it wasn't meant to be a single. It was meant to be on the compilation. And he just happened to let one of his videographers listen to it. And he wanted to shoot a visual for it, and it was amazing because it was that love, and then as it continued to get more exposure, from obviously, you guys put in the record, Spaceship on Waves of the Bay, even my girl, her daughter's 8 years old, you know what I mean? And when that song comes on, she's singing it too. So, and I kind of think about Big Boy. Big Boy says that his kids are like his A&Rs. If he spends some in his car and he kind of sees his kids vibing to it, he knows he might have something, because a lot of the times, like,
he was talking about being hip, right, man. Like the kids,
right,
over.
They kind of run with it, So I just knew we had something. We shot the visual for it as well. And it's definitely been a fan favorite, so that's a record right there. And continue to push. And so again, it's networking and relationship. And I brought up DC to Big Business. I say, DC is a really dope artist, but he has this great sense of humor about him as well, which is not a common thing when you think about a lot of rappers or MCs. So you don't necessarily see them in the comedy spotlight, you know. So
They want you to act
Big
all
Biz,
hard
you
all
know,
the time.
right. And, you know, we're human like anybody else. You know, we have, you know, sense of humor like anybody else. So, and I've seen just DC being his natural self, outside of his lyrical ability. He just has a great talent for it. Linked them up with Big Business. Big Business, I would say, definitely gave him an opportunity, and he definitely took advantage of it, you know, and he did his thing.
Yeah, he killed it, man. Shout out to DC. Shout out to all the comedians I seen that night too, man. Like all y'all did your thing, man. I know Taurus, man. Taurus be killing it though, man. And just like you said, it's about providing that door for them to actually be able to go through and be seen. You know, because and be seen in a good light on top of that, because some people have janky ass events, and this wasn't one of those type of parties, you know. So shout out to you guys on that one. Let's go ahead and talk about Clear Vision, man. Like we've been jumping around and, you know, avoiding it because I've been waiting to get to it, man. Is this something that you guys had in the works before the Rona, or did the Rona actually just spark all this up for you?
Quote, I'll let you take your perspective first on that.
He said he's gonna let you say what you gotta say, and then he's gonna say that you're wrong. That's what he just said right there. That's what I heard.
Because I think his involvement, his story and how he became connected to everything is a little bit more unique. Of course, again, this is where I'm at now. I want to work more and talk less, and this is one of those things where I can be honest. There are parts to this that will be revealed by just seeing them, because for us as humans, seeing is believing. And the thing is, I want you to see it, then I want you to believe it. So when the next part comes, I want you to believe it before you see it. You understand what I'm saying? Like, because at this point, you know, there's a difference between vision and sight, right? And in the natural, we want to see everything, then believe. But clear vision is really about believing things so intently, so passionately, that you can see it like it's there before it actually is in front of your face. We have to be able to manifest our goals, our dreams, our overcoming of these obstacles that are in our way. It's just like anything else. There will be obstacles in your way, and it really connects to all facets in life. You have these mental blocks that stop you from laughing. We got a comedy show for that. We have, you know, these ideas. Think about the type of clothing that you wear, you know, when you were a kid especially. You know, much of it didn't really perpetuate the mindset that you needed to have at that time. You know, of course, in the Black community, things like, and people may not like what I'm saying, but it's the truth. You know, thug life. Do you know how many people got rich off of shirts that said thug life? That wasn't owned by anybody who actually was out there making music about, you know, thug life. That was more. Yeah, that was more of an opportunity for somebody to take a phrase and capitalize off of it, and at the detriment to a young, unknowing demographic. I mean, the same thing could be said for bling bling. If Lil Wayne would have coined that particular phrase, and
Snowman and Jeezy,
exactly,
they banned his shirts,
of course. But again,
right.
People are making money off of mindsets and ideas, and they're not being trademarked. They're not being copyrighted. And it's a shame. But if you really look at these things and you really do your research and really go into it with a mindset of, I have to see beyond what's in front of me. I have to see what's beyond what's in front of me. So at this point, you know, again, clear vision. We're going to bring different things to you, whether it be a comedy event, whether it be the clothing, whether it be even more. And there's going to be more, but there's a point that people don't understand. And it is like what Nipsey Hussle said in terms of marathon. People want to win a race before the race is even over. And it's like, you can only have these milestones and these markers along the way at record pace if you're really winning, because you're winning, but you could still lose the race if you don't know what you want in 20 years, in 10 years, in 5 years, in 3 years, in 1 year. And there's mile markers along the way that you have to determine how you measure that progress. And that's your vision. We have our vision over here. We have our mindset over here. And we have those mile markers in place. And we're trying to knock them down in record time.
Whoa.
Right. Yeah. So mindset. Dream Team is my team. And when I look at Dream Team, I look at ambition, excellence, and greatness. AG Clear Vision is an that from a mental standpoint, like you mentioned, the Nipsey's marathon mentality. And me and Biz, we think alike in many, many ways. This connection here came back around full circle, because when I got to Tampa, Florida, and I seen some of the guys, some of the most hardworking guys out here, Biz was one of them. I've been a part of several of his shows, incredible shows. He's somebody that I genuinely feel has been a very underrated individual. But one of the concerns that has plagued Tampa for years has been the lack of camaraderie, lack of being a team, like how what ATL is right now, and putting guys on. He's big business is full of so many different talents and so many different skills. It's like a reflection of myself. We're very modest individuals, but if you mention our names, people know who we are. The name carries weight. And I always express, I've never heard anybody speak ill of big business, down about big business. You can't, when the work speaks for itself, you can't, So outside of us doing a couple of different shows together, we're like, having different conversations, and having the same mentality. We wanted to kind of come up with an idea that we both could actually share and bring to the table. And that's how Clear Vision was born, and we just want to continue to just push that idea out there, influence that as well. But we represent greatness, and we represent individuals that do have our same work ethic as well, and have a mentality to think long term, and don't think so much of the right now, but process, trust the process, and then the outcome will definitely be what you're deserving of at the end of the day.
I feel that.
And that's Clear Vision.
Exactly. We got the Clear Vision brand CEOs over here, man. Big Business L Quote, man. They're the ones that bringing it to the table for us. And I love seeing people pursue their passions. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like that's a lot what the Rona has brought about. Like, the creatives have really found a way to capitalize on their talents, And whether it's a talent you knew you had, or whether it's something that you might have uncovered, when you was in isolation and quarantine and shit. Like, I started doing video edits and flyers and, all this other stuff while I'm sitting here locked down, trying to figure out how I can be better. And I always tell Spaceship, when we went into the Rona, we have to be better on the back end of this. No matter how long this lasts, we got to come out of here better. So I feel like you guys have both doubled down and leveled up at the same time, man. So kudos to y'all both. For what y'all are bringing to the table, man, honestly. Now, Quote, you a new parent, man, so tell me something that you wished you knew about being a parent before it actually happened.
Honestly, when you don't have children, I genuinely feel like you can't really relate, I only had experience as an uncle. And you're not day in and day out with children, so to speak, when you're not, a parent. So I really couldn't speak to it. It's almost like trying to speak about an experience that you never went through. It won't do it any type of justice, so to speak. But what I will say is that, me being in my mid 30s right now, this is like the perfect time for me to have had a child versus like, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, understanding that I wasn't ready, on a mature level, as well as within my career. Right now, I have a solid foundation within my career. I have constant doors open up as well, and my son, he's 6 months now, and me being an entrepreneur, I'm no longer in corporate America, having a 9 to 5. So I'm one of the few that have the opportunity to have spent a lot of time with my son, literally seeing him like for the first time, like holding a bottle. It's amazing to me to see him hold a bottle for the first time. It's like, wow, from an independent standpoint, it's like blew my mind, because I never experienced like that, something like that, to be with him month in, month out, and I'm gonna be looking forward to seeing him walk for the first time, crawl for the first time, and talk, and actually articulate himself for the first time. So, I love it, and I got even guys like big business and my team around me who made sure always, anytime I wanted to put, first my family first, they never, made me feel like I couldn't, because in some cases you have people around you or mentors around you that I see the value in that. Even individuals that like with Big Biz not being a parent, he makes me feel like, he understands that side, so that's appreciated because I still want to continue to go hard, with the hustle, with the grind. And I never stopped that, even throughout the pandemic and the corona virus pandemic, but then also still being able to spend time with my son and always putting him number one. And I always grinded as if I had children, but now it's just a totally different ball game. It's like now my moves have to be a lot more calculated,
right, in
a sense, versus just doing something just to do it, So to cover your question, I just is indescribable feeling that I'm grateful for to be blessed with, to have him here today.
It's just watching, like for me, it was watching Ariana just try to figure it out, and it's like she didn't know how to do this last week, but somehow she figured out how to do it this week, and somehow she's figuring this out. Like she's, I remember when she was like this small, and now she's 6 years old. All the way up here with an attitude. She knows all the songs. She loves to dance. She loves to sing. She likes playing jokes on people. And it's like she's her own little person. But it's like a perfect combination of me and Winnie at the same time, man. But it's just like kids, man. Like until you are a parent, it is a completely different experience. Like, and I had this talk with one of my friends' husbands the other week or whatever. He's not a parent. So he's talking from all the stuff he's seeing or whatever. I'm just like, bro, like you can't even comprehend this shit, man. Like it's a love greater than anything you ever know, man. Like, and you there, especially if you're a father that's there, because a lot of people, know, have that stigma that fathers aren't always in the life of our children. And, for the father that's actually there, man, light and day, man. I wouldn't trade that shit for the world. Right. Like, for real.
Facts, bro.
Yeah, man. Congratulations on being a new father, though, man. For real, man. That makes me happy right there.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that, man.
Yeah, man. So we talking with Big Biz and L Clear Vision brand. We've been talking about the shows that they've done. We've talked about the places they've been. I actually want to switch it up with y'all, man. Let me what's a good switch it up? Oh, I got one. All right. Big Biz, describe your life with a movie title. I'm at you with these work icebreaker questions, man. That's what I'm gonna do.
Great expectations. Go with that. Great expectations.
Okay. Just the way you said that, man. You feel that one, huh? Hey, this nigga. Great expectations.
Again, where you end up has a lot to do with where you aim. And if you don't aim high enough, you ain't gonna get that far. So yeah, I'd have to say great expectations, you know, and to add to that, sometimes you have to isolate yourself. I think it's very important to have that part to yourself, because there'll be people who try to chop down a tree before it even starts to grow. You start talking about things you want to do, and they'll be looking at you like, how in the hell are you going to do that? And it's just like, that's just not for you to know. You know, if you can't visualize, if you can't research, if you can't ask questions in a free environment, you're a prisoner of your mind. No, and I can't be around people like that for too long, because it's not a place for growth. It's toxic. It's cancer.
It's a bad energy at the same time, especially for somebody that's positive and always trying to, you know, create new shit. You know, we ain't trying to be drugged down by all that, man, like at all.
No.
Quote, I'm gonna switch this up for you, man. Who would play you in your biography?
Who would play me?
Mm-hmm.
In my movie, my biopic. Dude, that's a great one. I love J. Cole's story. You know, so him being one of my peers and me being able to watch him grow from when he was that guy competing with Drake, you know, when he got signed to Jay-Z, and all these, you know, these expectations that they have for him as well. And, you know, I think this was called like the sideline story. And he has a very relatable story that I've been able to, like many others, been able to follow. And like, he's one of the greatest success stories of, you know, being able to, you know, sell out shows, you know. But one story that sticks out in my mind that I genuinely feel like could have been me was when he was in New York for, I believe, months at a time going to school. And he decided to try to catch Jay-Z going into his label to pitch him his demo, you know. So, and he was successful because Jay-Z heard it, and then the rest has been history, you know. So, and the irony behind that is that, you know, I came across a good friend in Germany who used to always be on J. Cole's tour bus and kind of knew a few of the artists and passing through. And she was like, yo, and then ironically, I'm in New Jersey with Smooth at the time. We traveling doing music. And I literally was this close to FaceTiming J. Cole. She's like, yo, you got to tell him, you know, how dope you are. And I was passed out in a hotel room. And by the time I got up to be able to try to FaceTime him, he was on tour. He had his wife with him and his newborn child. So he had a lot of security around him. But I wouldn't call it a missed opportunity, you know, because everything happens for a reason. And at that space in my life, I definitely wanted to try to fit myself within Dreamville. But I'm glad that wasn't the case, because I'm not a big person of trying to get handouts, so to speak. But I definitely do not want to get overshadowed by such a big name, because I do feel like our stories are not too similar. You know, we are different in many ways, but we have our own commonalities. But I could have been that same, you know, kid 10 years ago passing my demo off to Jay-Z, you know what I'm saying? And taking advantage of that opportunity. So from a biopic standpoint, it's like, yeah, you know, it's no better person that I feel like would do a better job. Would be Cole. You know, if he was to dive into the acting realm, which I'm sure wouldn't be a problem.
Nah, especially considering his videos and the content in the videos, man. He's acting in a lot of his videos already. Straight up. Nah.
Right.
Yeah.
Fact.
I think we need to get Luke Cage.
No comment on that. No comment on that. Not a bad idea.
That's a good one. Man. That's a good one.
Setting up
That's a
jokes
good one.
tonight, man. I'm setting up jokes tonight, man. It's Waves of the Bay podcast. We got Big Business. We got L Quote we're talking with, man. We've been talking about the Clear Brand apparel. Quote, man, as a music artist, you're a veteran artist, a seasoned artist, a performing artist. You're on platforms where you can stream your music. Your music's heard worldwide. Give me 3 tips you can give to an upcoming artist that they might not have known, or something that you might have wished that you knew earlier.
And Benny the Butcher, he actually touched on this not too long ago, and I agree with him, is finding a producer. You can have multiple producers, but you need to have a go-to producer that matches your sound. You have to find your sound. If you haven't found your sound, it doesn't matter how much music you make. You're not going to have a demographic for it. You're not going to have a particular focus for it. You need to find out what your sound is, so that would be the first tip. Once you found your sound, because that typically in many cases is the easy part. Making music and making really dope records is not a difficult task. The second tip that I would give is understanding marketing, because you don't got to have the hottest product on the block. You know what I'm saying? Apple was not the hottest, cell phone product out there, but they definitely have mastered marketing. That's why they are at the top of the food chain still to this day. They're definitely one of the best products out there for cell phones, but they're definitely the number one when it comes to marketing. As an artist, there you go.
The exact same idea.
Same idea. So okay, I got my sound. Okay, now let me focus and study marketing. Right. Once you've studied marketing, then the third tip that I would give, which obviously is a lot more, but the third that I would give would be studying your audience and studying your demographic and solely catering to them. Because, you want to find a core fan base. You need to find fanatics out there, those that will travel. Even when I was in the military, still making music, right? But I was in the honor guard where they're in ceremonial uniforms, where they fold the flags for the next of kin when somebody passes away and things like that. I've had people travel. We used to fly to Italy or fly to France to do certain military details. And I remember people driving hours, just to see me because they knew me. They knew El Quo, the music veteran, and they traveled to see me that far, So me learning that early in my career, I bring up that as a point of that. I remember her. She was the daughter of the family, and her dad loved me too. But I would consider them fanatics, and I would focus solely on them regarding my audience, So if you can find 1,000 of those, 10,000 of those, constantly trying to expand, your fan base in that right, that's key. Nobody else matters outside of that, outside of when it comes to those who truly, truly support you the most, who will basically spend all their money on you, because they've bought into you, So I would definitely say your sound, marketing, and then studying your audience and demographic.
Dope. All right, let's flip this around for you, Big Business, as a promoter out here, as a curator out here. You're putting these shows together, man. You've done comedy shows, hip hop shows about life and different things going on, man. What do you hate to? Let me not do the hate. What would you give advice to promoters coming up right now, coming after the Rona, trying to fill these venues as much as they can with limitations? What advice would you give to them?
Honestly, I wouldn't give them any advice because
hey, fuck y'all.
So hard to. I'm gonna just be honest because
watch y'all bleed out. Hey, that's what he said. Man.
No. and I'll say this because. And this is what it is. People sometimes don't appreciate what they get for free.
That's fact. Yeah.
So what I've learned as a promoter, if you start from free, it's a lot harder to get to $20
You've
because
lost
the
that
people
leverage.
who are in that
Yep.
area are used to getting free.
Mm-hmm.
And you may be used to doing it from the love of your heart, but the thing is, people remember you from the lowest common denominator, unfortunately. If you met somebody in grade school and you grow up to be LeBron James, guess who they going to refer you to when you was a little kid and what you used to do when you were a kid, even though you're LeBron James and you're worth, hundreds of millions of dollars. People like to bring you down to the lowest common denominator based upon shared experiences. So
Facts.
I would say, again, this isn't free advice. It's just because nothing's free. You paying for that Wi-Fi, you getting the signal on. This ain't free, and I'm not giving it to you because it's free. I'm sharing because I feel that it's important, but understand that there's a gift, and everybody's not going to appreciate the gift. And you can't give it all the time away for free because what happens is you'll have somebody who wants it for free, and when you don't give it to them for free, you're going to have less of a fan base because they never really had the opportunity to be a fan. They just had the opportunity
Changed
to
up
take
on us,
advantage.
man. You acting all brand new. You acting all Hollywood.
No, hey,
Right.
that's what
Right.
they're going to say. That's what they're going to say. How dare I say I have value when I used to give it for free? That's and it's not a thing where I know with drugs they say give them one free and then they'll come back for more. That's not true. That's not true when it comes to a lot of things. Give them something for free, and when they can stop getting it for free, they're gonna go somewhere else.
Hey, Fat Joe
You try
said
to
it,
get it
man.
for free
Yesterday's price is not today's price.
Today's price, right?
Exactly. I mean, you've seen it before in real life. Think about do you really pay for YouTube and go and listen to a person's whole discography? Before, you used to have to buy it. Now it's been reduced to a point to where I'll just stream it. And you know how much money, it doesn't mean that the art got cheaper. It meant that they had other ways that they could get it for cheaper or for free, but they're still listening. So I would challenge promoters to know what you want out of the situation up front, and don't price yourself so low to where you're frustrated because of a situation you started too low with because you didn't value yourself.
I like that right there, man. You got to build value in yourself, and that's one of them things. Like, it comes with the territory. But on the flip side of that, artists that don't have a following, or they're not really promoting their own music, not promoting their own craft, they're not really passionate about what they're doing. Y'all need to earn getting paid to perform, stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? You get compensated for your talents and the value that you bring to a show, but you also have to do all the other elements of it as well, man. A lot of people be missing that. That's a disconnect right there too. So that's just one of them learning moments right there, man. Big Biz, I want you to tell me, man. I'm gonna give you 4 performers, and I say performers meaning just performance. It doesn't have to just be music or whatever, but if you could put a dream show together, who would you put on that bill? And it could be mainstream artists, it could be, our area artists, it could be even people that's dead or alive, man. Just give me 4 performers.
Oof. Well, this is what I'll do. I'll attack that from like an all-time great standpoint, and then kind of narrow towards local. Tampa talent for sure, because that's who I have made a point to try to work with, and it's all about building bridges. So I think even in what you're saying, again, I think large. It's about building bridges for opportunities. So I'm going to go straight to the top, start with Eddie Murphy.
Okay.
Because Eddie Murphy has done all of these things that we're discussing. He's been the comedian. He's been the musician. He's been in movies. He's laid out a very, very clear way to continue to evolve and not get stuck in a particular genre or a particular field for that nature. Even with Shrek, You know what I'm saying? He's one of those trendsetters who didn't allow people to box him in and say, hey, I got to stay here. So I would connect him, and I would go to a little bit further down, but not too much further down, honest truth be told, because you have to have a bridge connected to somebody who can open doors. So I would put an Eddie Murphy with somebody like an Adam Sandler. One thing Adam Sandler did is he kept the people on his team.
Man.
He kept the people on his team.
Every movie.
Yeah,
every movie. You gotta. That's mad respect right there, because he's definitely putting money in their pockets.
Absolutely.
That's dope.
You know what I'm saying? So that's somebody who I kind of watched the manuscript and a few other people about how you keep your team solid, and you can be catapulted to a higher level. So with those headliners and those big names involved, I would definitely take it back to Florida, and then I would start to incorporate some music elements. And I feel like, and it might surprise some people, but I wouldn't go down to the bottom and bring somebody from Miami. I would come straight here, and somebody who's been putting in a whole lot of work in this Bay Area. I would have a meeting with a Tom G. Tom G's been putting in work here, and I know if Tom G is involved, we're going to be able to get the city to be involved, and everybody's going to come out and be supportive, because he's one of those individuals that seeing is believing, again, on the BET Awards, and then things will line up from there, because, again, when they see your grind and they see your work ethic and they see you successful, other people will come and want to be involved. And then after that, realistically, I would put on the Clear Vision team. You know who you are, because if one of us is involved, all of us are going to be involved. So that would be a L quote. That would be a Alec Burnwright. That would be Vibes from Gen TV. That would be some of the females who have been affiliated and associated with the brand that we've been building, whether it be from a musician standpoint or from a modeling standpoint or whatever. Because if one of the Clear Vision team people are involved, there's going to be multiple people from the Clear Vision team involved. So you have to have bridges that are being built if you're trying to be a visionary. So again, Eddie Murphy is one of the best top 5 in my mind to ever do comedy point blank, period. And then just build that bridge. And he's at the top. He has the ability to negotiate those deals for those movie contracts, for those movie soundtracks, a forgotten and lost art, for those comedy shows. So he could reach out to a Dave Chappelle and put on some of these people from the Clear Vision team, and some of these comedians that we're trying to help take to a different level. So you just have to be intentional. Without that intentionality, you're kind of aimlessly wandering, hoping and wondering if things will work. We don't do that over here. You got to have a vision.
Got that. And that vision needs to be clear at the same time, man. Bam. Like, I know y'all like that right there. Well, I got to hit you with like one more question, man, and then we'll go ahead and wrap up and, get moving from here, man. I just thought of this question, never asked it before in my life, man. So let me give you, I'm going to give you 5 names, all right? Matter of fact, you're going to give me 5 names. Who would be your hip-hop Avengers?
Oh,
That's a good question.
man, come on,
Man.
man. Yeah. That ain't for me. That's got to be for Quote.
No, that's for Quote. That's for Quote right there,
I'm
man.
about to say, boy, because Quote, I'm over here like, that's 45 years right there you got to comb through.
Man.
That's a good question. And like a big business response to the last question, man, that mixture, the Eddie Murphy and the Tom G throwing in like the Clear Vision team. And even I'm a fan of Adam Sandler, but I had no idea that he always brought his team with him. So that's a great combination.
Movie, you're going to see the same dude. He's the one that got your boy, I'll be forgetting names and shit, but Rod, all those Saturday Night Live motherfuckers. Rob Schneider. He has Rob Schneider and all his shit. I'm telling you, the same people every damn movie, man.
But that combination that he mentioned that's a really dope combination, man. I definitely get hats off to that response there. So my 5 Avengers, man. So I gotta, you said dead, is it like Dead or Alive?
Nah,
Dead or Alive, or
let's do it.
let's do Alive. Ah,
I'm gonna narrow this down for you.
cold blooded for that. You cold blooded for that. Okay. In that category. There's nothing that he has not done that
Say
he
that
just
again.
cannot do.
Repeat that one more time for me.
Sean Carter, Jay-Z, the billionaire Jay-Z has to be in that 5. There's nothing that Jay-Z has not done, and there's nothing that Jay-Z cannot do. So definitely Jay-Z. I would have to say Drake. I would throw Drake in there. And the reason why I would throw Drake in there is because his ability to basically involve himself for so long to remain on top, to remain as relevant as he has, and him being a double threat, not only lyrically, but also, he's also known as a singer, and he does that very, very well, which is not very easy to do. But the biggest thing about Drake that I love is that what platform he's or hosted a particular show, he really expanded hip hop. He allowed hip hop to go even further than we've ever gone, So, and I feel like when you're a new face carrying that torch, whether it's Drake, Cole, Kendrick, or whoever you want it to be, who followed what the pioneers have set for us, you gotta take it as far as you can. So Drake has definitely done that for us. So I would throw Drake as an Avenger within that 5.
Any females make the cut?
I'm very selective with the women. Very selective with the women. Not that I don't love Nicki. I love Nicki, but if I was to choose a female as an Avenger, I would probably say Cardi B. And the reason why I would say Cardi B is because nobody ever thought she was going to be as big of a juggernaut as she is. Coming from was it Love and Hip Hop?
Yep.
That was the show she was on. So everybody, I felt like everybody doubted her. But what really stuck in my mind, outside of her success as a female rap artist, is I forget the show she had on Netflix, but she had T.I. She scouted T.I. and what's that, Chicago? A Chance the Rapper. So, and by watching that show, her respect for the game and her knowledge for the game really impressed me because as big of an artist as she is easy to lose sight of guys like T.I., who I would consider legendary in hip hop, who arguably started trap music, which expanded hip hop culture as well. So, cause I'm all about moving the culture forward. So I would definitely say Cardi, and I'm glad that Big Biz chimed in to allow my focus to try to mix it up a little bit with the genders, because it's hard. It's hard for a female rapper out here. It's not too many of them that can really have long, successful careers. So Cardi B would be a third Avenger within my 5. I have 2 more Avengers. Man, 2 more Avengers. So I would have to say Rick Ross. Yeah, I would have to say Rick Ross, you know. And this is everybody watching, man. So this question is definitely a different type of a question. So it's not my top 5 of all time. So Keep that in mind. And it's many Avengers out there, right? But if I was to just top of my brain, and I'm giving you reasons of why I'm choosing these Avengers to go on to a particular.
These is the motherfuckers that's pulling up.
Right, and keep in mind, and the 3 so far, and the 4th one is Rick Ross, because a lot of these guys and Cardi B have a lot of influence, they have a lot of pull, right, and they've constantly been pushing this culture forward, you know, and so the reasoning for Rick Ross is not only has he had an illustrious rap career, he was also able to survive a very formidable opponent, 50 Cent, which after what he did to Ja, it seemed impossible to do. And he did it with just making music and his work ethic. But when you look at guys that he's actually put on, whether it was him helping DJ Khaled out, bringing Meek Mill to the table, you know, pushing Wale's career even further than what it was before he got with Maybach Music, you know, things like that. And the biggest reason why I'm choosing Rick Ross outside of music, when it comes to business, his business mind is second to none amongst many of guys who find it, who really haven't been very successful outside of rap music. So Ross, I can really utilize as a mentor on many levels. And you know, he's a guy like Drake that got that Jay-Z cosign. So that Jay-Z cosign is an underrated cosign. So think about that. You know what I mean? So that's my 4th Avenger. Damn, my 5th one. So my 5th Avenger. I would have to say my 5th Avenger would have to be Kendrick Lamar.
Oh.
Yeah, have to be Kendrick Lamar. And that probably caught a lot of people off guard. And the reason why I say Kendrick, he's been one of the few MCs that have been able to truly push the BLM movement. You know, before BLM was a movement, Kendrick really pushed that, you know, especially since, you know, Good Kid, Mad City. But one of the biggest reasons why I would pick Kendrick as my 5th Avenger in this particular space that I'm in is because Kendrick hasn't dropped music for a while. He's been on a hiatus for a minute.
It's been about 4 years, I believe.
Been about 4 years, and this guy is in the conversation. He doesn't leave the conversation, and there's a reason why he doesn't leave the conversation, you know? And I've seen a lot of influence, you know, all these Avengers have influenced a lot of artists, you know, and Kendrick is definitely one of them. So if I was to, and I'm going to look at this question as I have multiple missions to accomplish with multiple Avengers. This is my first mission. So these are the first 5 Avengers that I'm going to this first mission on to get this task completed from Tone Capone. So there you have it.
Such a dope ass question and a dope ass answer, man. Hey, I
Yeah,
applaud you. I
yeah,
applaud you,
yeah.
man.
Of course,
Big
of
business
course.
over there, like, man, I'm glad he didn't ask me that shit.
Yeah.
Hey, he said alive too. He said alive, not dead. I'm like, oh, that eliminated a lot of. That's good,
Yeah,
man.
man. Nah, that's good shit right there, man.
Hmm.
This is the Waves of Debate podcast. We got Big Business L Quote here. I want you guys to drop your social media information. That way people can follow you and follow the movement, you know.
All right. Of course, I'm on Facebook, Leewood Herb, Wood as if, would you try, WOULD. On Instagram, I got a few Big Business and Events, properly spelled, Big HLW, comedy, that last one, uh, comedy on the go with Big Business. I think is the third Instagram page that I have.
You
I
got
don't
burner
really do.
accounts and shit, man.
Well, again, the more hats you have, the more pages. Facebook,
Yeah, you
uh,
gotta
20,
specialize. I can dig it.
yeah. Facebook, we have separate pages for transition talks and 2020 vision and media as well. So those are the social media tags. Get hooked up. Add us.
That quote.
Yes, sir. So before I give my tags, I want to give a major shout out to Waves of the Bay, Tone Capone, DJ Spaceship. They broke a lot of my records, giving me a lot of opportunities. Same as Big Business as well, giving me a lot of opportunities. So without y'all too, I feel like I wouldn't be here today. So I definitely appreciate that for sure. So my taglines, to keep up with me, all things they'll quote. So quote fuego, like quote what I say, QUOTE. Fuego in Spanish, which is fire in Spanish. So FUEGO. So that's, and then in my bio, all things they'll quote, you can click on my link tree. And then as far as to get the Clear Vision merch, which, the tagline is in my bio as well, but Clear Vision merch, and that's MERCH. If you want to cop some apparel as well. So those are the two main taglines that you definitely want to go to for myself and the brand. You know what I mean? So holla at us.
I'm excited, man. I like talking to people and then following up with y'all like a few months later to see, what has changed, what's improved, how things have gone. So I'm excited to see where you guys take this brand to, because I see a lot of people doing like clothing, but they don't ever really follow up with it. They don't ever, follow through with it, man. It's just be here and gone. So, you know what I'm saying? So I know you guys both have roots involved with this one, and I'm excited to see where you're going to take this one too, for real. Plus, with everything else you got going on, quote, I'm expecting new music from you very soon. Big Business, I'm expecting new shows from you very soon. Like, I expect a lot out of both of y'all, and y'all rise to the occasion every time, man. So that's love right there.
Yes, sir. You got it, man.
Appreciate you having us on your platform. Again, you're one who always recreates himself as well, whether it be the shows that you've been putting on and then the Rona hit, then you went with the podcast, obviously 88.5 as well. So we respect and appreciate your grind, because it's an indicator to us that, there's people out here who are doing what we're doing and being successful at it. So it gives us inspiration and fuel to keep going in the direction that we're going.
Hey, that's what's up, man. Y'all know what it is, man. We just gonna keep on grinding. That's all we can do, and somebody's gonna watch us and do the same. You know what I'm saying? That's what we're gonna do.
Right.
But yo,
Right.
This is episode 6 of the Waves of Debate podcast, the first one of 2022. I got to speak with the family, man, the homies, Big Biz, L Quote. We laughed. We dropped knowledge. I stumped a couple people on some questions. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, what an entertaining show, man. We've had a good time. And y'all don't even know what happened with the outtakes, man. The outtakes are going to be amazing as well. But For real, man. This is episode 6. I appreciate y'all coming through. And everybody out there, man, make sure you follow us on all social media at Waves of the Bay. Hit the webpage up, tone-capone.com. As you can see, my name's spelled with a K. So if you spell it with a C, you will not see me. So just make sure you spell my name correctly. Hit the webpage. You'll see the Waves of the Bay logo right there. You'll see DJ Spaceship's logo right there. Shout out Spaceship once again, man, the partner in crime. All this is, none of this is possible without him. So shout out to the partner. But yeah, man, we appreciate y'all tuning in. We'll catch y'all the next go round. And my peoples out there, man, y'all be safe, man. I'll see y'all next time I see y'all.
All right. Peace.
Already, man. Tampa will win, and we out.
Yes.
Peace.
Yes, sir.
It's Kino Sabi forever. Stand for something. We appreciate the blessing, bro. Let's go.
Ain't trying to bite it, we create it, then we ride it. We know our wave is seismic and you really can't deny it. We just keep on soaring higher. You would swear it's autopilot, then you realize tone and shift and made a living off a fly. We are the wave and it's bigger than the moment. It's a movement that's progressing like the truck stick on opponents. It's time to stake our claim. It's time to bring the pain. We're battle tested, now it's time to show it ain't a game. It's time to make a lane, a different vibe, another wave. We're known for killing, shoot, even help them pick their graves. We're breaking free in chains and running towards the day. Like the victories in plain sight, we're taking flight to reach heights. These boys is tired of waiting, tired of playing, time to go. This vibe's been percolating, gaining steam to explode. Building anticipation, maybe time to reload. We paid our dues, now we're coming back to reload. We kicking doors, we ain't got no time for peepholes. We keep evolving for our family and our peoples. Ain't playing fair in this game, we just some cheap